So, in my previous video, which you can check out here, I had spoken briefly about traditionalism and its underlying concept of eternal truth or transcendent truth. Eternal truth is probably a more correct phrasing. But I realised that during that brief 2 minute discussion that I didn't actually mention what the actual so-called truths of the Sophia Perennis actually are. So I just wanted to very briefly describe them and talk about what would be arguments against or what value they might have. So the first would be that there is a divine reality underpinning everything, and without this, nothing would exist. Now, the secular argument against that, of course, would be that's just a lot of woo and nonsense. And the argument, of course, would be that it's simply a God of the gaps argument, and that a mathematical or scientific inquiry into the nature of reality will yield some sort of answer in this regard. So that would be a very difficult point to refute. And it's not even a question of refuting these things. It's really what I meant to say in the previous video was that traditionalism is a lens to try and help you, or that could be deployed to try and assess how you feel about a purely scientific view of the world. But the secular argument against that would largely consist of, well, what's your evidence for this divine reality, and is that not simply a God of the gaps argument? Which leads us then on to the second Sophia Perennis, which would be that the divine reality may be directly perceived under certain conditions, which I'm given to understand are through processes like, in the case of traditional religious practice, through prayer, and prayer like meditation, through mystic experiences, even though I don't quite understand what they actually are. I have a rough idea, but through also through hallucinogens, things like that. Again, like a secular argument against that would of course be, well, you're talking about like imagining your way towards feeling better, which kind of might be the whole point of the thing, but it's again, we're just talking more about the actual desire to try and perceive meta reality like that, which seems to be more what the actual proposition means. That third Sophia Perennis, humans possess a dual nature. I'm reading this off the screen, by the way. Egoic consciousness and a true self that reflects this divine reality. Again, probably would be dismissed as woo in a secular conception. But again, it's possibly slightly missing the point. We're talking about the process of your interior life and how you assess the reality of the world around you. Not just in terms of nuts and bolts, like here is a collection of atoms, but if we can ascribe any deeper meaning to that. And the fourth then, Sophia Perennis, will be, and this again of course is why traditionalism in its conception talks about all traditional religions being ordered towards these types of eternal truths, that people generally experience a longing to reunite with this sort of divine reality. And of course out of that comes conceptions of what an afterlife might consist of, and all the different conceptions of that exist in all the different traditional religions. So these, obviously the four Sophia Perennis, they can all be, in a completely secular view, can all be just dismissed with, where's your evidence for any of these things? The only real evidence you can point towards is that they do seem to, at the very least, represent a way of conceiving what like the kinds of things that people think about, and even during the most mundane times of their lives. And I would argue that regardless of whether you're a believer or a non-believer, they are a an interesting or maybe a productive way of thinking about the world around you. So there are my thoughts in that regard anyway. All of which has nothing to do with the tune I'm about to attend here. So she never mentions the word addiction in certain company. Yeah, she tell you she's an orphan after you meet her family. She paints her eyes as black as night now. She pulls the shades down tight. There's a smile when the pain comes. Pain's gonna make everything alright. Yeah, she says she talks to angels, call her up by her name. She says she talks to angels, call her up by her name. She wears a lock of hair in a locket. She wears a cross around her neck. Lock of hair's for a boy she knows, a cross for someone she ain't met yet. She says she talks to angels, call her up by her name. She says she talks to angels, call her up by her name. Her eyes as black as night now. She pulls the shades down tight. It's a smile when the pain comes. The pain's gonna make everything alright. So no wait for that last bit. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. So.